We have been in business now for 20 years. We started with our very first model, the Tranquility Pod, which looks a bit like a dolphin. My husband and I were actually working on the shape in 1999 out of wood. We were making this massive model that we turned into a fiberglass pod, and we started off in England with just the one product, and then little by little over the years we introduced a cabin and then the float around, and then we switched to selling a lot of open pools. And in recent years, the big development for us has been working with Dr. Justin Feinstein of the Laureate Institute for Brain Research. That was about 5 years ago we started working with Justin, and we've been seriously involved in the research project going on there to help him prove to the world that regular floating can actually impact significantly on people suffering from extreme stress and anxiety. During these past 20 years, we also opened 2 of our own float centers about the same month in two different countries in Europe. That was a bit much. We also started manufacturing here in the USA about 2 years ago, and when we met Deborah Worthington of H2 Oasis, and Deborah became our USA CEO and is running our sales office here. That was a huge step for us, and we are now in the process of setting up manufacture here in the United States.
As an engineering and design-based company, we have innovated in many ways over the last 20 years since making the Tranquility Pod that was our first product, as well as the different forms of float tank that we've introduced. We also work on controlling the air, which is a major factor which is often misunderstood, that when you're floating, the air is just as important as the solution you're floating in. And we've introduced other products such as the rescue board, which is there for emergency use, is very relevant to clinical use, enables someone to be pulled out of the float tank if they're immobile by a single person. We are working on a thing we call the hair boat, which is to protect people's hair from the solution. It's quite a tricky technical problem. The highlights which I remember from the 20 years are the way in which flotation has spread around the world from such a small beginning. Now we can say that there are significant and successful commercial float centers in every continent of the 6 continents, in all of those 50 countries, and in America, every state now has flotation centers. And that's really happened in quite a few years. It's very exciting. The highlight of it all is the fact that we'll now be able to get into clinical flotation, and I believe that Floataway will be the company that pioneers clinical flotation as it expands around America and around the world, helping the many people, a quarter to a third of the population, who suffer from anxiety.